Hello, everyone. Good morning. Today, we have a special session on football with our guest, Mr. Hitesh Joshi, a founding member of IKF, India Khelo Football, which is a platform dedicated to democratizing Indian football by connecting grassroots talent with professional opportunities. It's more than just a platform or organization. I think we can say it's a movement aimed to improve Indian football, taking to new heights with a goal of making significant impact at the international stage. So let's go straight to Mr. Hitesh Joshi. First of all, Hitesh, thank you for making the time. I understand it's a very busy schedule for you. So thank you for making the time. And before we talk about IKF, before we talk about scouting, I want to know about you and your journey towards football, how you got into it, and maybe
Sure,
a
sure.
brief introduction about yourself.
Of course, of course. As hi Siddharth, and thank you for having me here. It's the pleasure is all mine. Yeah. So I had to take time for this. So my brief introduction. So I have had I'll have two lines of introduction. One
Right.
is the regular grind of Indian middle class doing
Yes.
engineering, MPA, and then getting into jobs. But I'll focus more on football. So uh, we started I started playing football when EPL got popular in India.
Mm.
ESPN, Star Sports, they had started broadcasting. And me, my friends in my society, we started playing it.
Mm.
Luckily, one of our friend was from Don Bosco in Mumbai. So
Mm.
they had training facilities over there. So he used to learn and then teach it to us. So I said, so years passed by and then we understood. Everybody felt that we are an amazing player. I realized it later on that I am a shit player, so I'm not a good player. But at that time, we used to feel that we are good players and nobody is scouting us.
Ah,
And so we thought, okay, we'll start our own club. Might as well start our own club and
right.
then play professional football in Mumbai. So we
Mm.
started our own club. A few people in our society they supported us, and in order to in order to bear the expenses of the club, we started an academy later on.
Mm.
So that was my journey in football. While being in academy, while being part of
Mm.
the club, manage the
Right.
academy. Of course, it was a team effort.
Right.
My friends, they were more involved than I was once I got into MBA and the regular job stuff. So yeah, this has been my very short football journey, being a player to a club administration to academy owner slash administrator, etc.
Right. Well, that was quite an introduction. Thank you. I think we all, like you said, middle class grind that we all go through. We are also living our dreams, and
Yeah,
we also want like Indian football to grow
of course.
that manner. Moving on to next question. Let's go straight to scouting and India Khelo Football. What first
Right.
of all, before talking about India Khelo Football, people will want to know what is scouting because it's
Right.
still a very early stage in India.
Yeah. So in India, the scouting ecosystem is still at a very early stage.
Right.
So when we started, there were very handful of scouts, etc. And in majority of the clubs, the process of scouting or still it is being done by coaches.
Right.
But if you see internationally, these are two separate roles in
Right.
itself.
Right.
Okay, so scouting in very simple words, Siddharth, is talent identification. That
Hmm.
is what scouting is.
Hmm.
You know,
Hmm.
uh, how you identify the talent, either based on the requirement or
Hmm.
on based on certain benchmarks that you have.
Right.
So scouting, as in a process, is talent identification, but what are you scouting for changes the output of the scouting process. So if you're scouting for national team, possibly you won't be getting too many players. If you're scouting
Hmm.
for a I League third division team, you might get a good number of players. If you're scouting for Mumbai elite division team,
Hmm.
there's a more pool of players that you might. And if you're getting for a third division team, so then
Right.
the stat scouting process might result in something else. So
Hmm.
although the process is same, but the
Right.
benchmarks that you set uh, for that process changes the output drastically.
Right.
So where we are currently in India, or rather, what we IKF are at is player scouting. Then
Right.
comes the tactical scouting, where you scout specifically for the style of the club, for the
Hmm.
position that they want, etc. So that tactical scouting is still to come. It is being followed in ISL, obviously.
Right.
So, but at IKF, we are at talent identification level. And
Right.
then comes the grading part. So if you have identified a talent, then where
Hmm.
does he stand? Which again depends on your benchmark. So if you're comparing a striker with Sunil Chhetri, the grading changes. If
Right.
you're comparing him with a Mumbai Elite Division player, then the grading changes. So the player ratings, identification, and then grading slash rating is what the whole scouting process is all about.
Right. I think this is very technical और I think बहुत सारे
Yeah.
लोगों को maybe समझ में ना आए तो
Right, right.
let's talk about a few stories. Let's maybe talk about few players whether in India or outside जो कि scouting की वजह से I mean better scouting की वजह से they are there और हमारी audience को भी समझ में आए okay this is the basics and then basically these are the technicalities in the scouting.
I'll just say, simplify it.
Yes.
Say, for example, you have a club in you have a club in Mumbai. So like every player comes out of a scouting process only.
Right.
There is no player
Absolutely.
which does not come out of a scouting process. Someone has to identify that. Someone
Right.
had to identify Sunil Chhetri. Somebody had
Exactly.
to identify Ronaldo on the streets of Portugal. Somebody had to identify Messi.
Exactly.
When they get identified, and how better they got identified and graded
Yes.
is what makes all the difference. So if they would have thought that Messi is only okay for lower division clubs, then
Hmm.
it would have. So the person who identified, he should understand the potential of the talent and
Hmm.
the benchmark through which he is looking at that
Hmm.
player from which lens. You
Hmm.
know. So
Right.
if you are so it's a very not a rocket science. It's a
Yeah.
mix of an art and science. So
Science.
the
Hmm.
art is something which basically you start with art in scouting, but slowly as the scouts mental benchmarks keeps on improving, वो art धीरे धीरे
Better होता है.
processes और science में convert होने लगता है.
Right.
So it's a mix of art and science, and then obviously there is some gut feeling about
Right.
it
Yeah.
for some players. So I'll just when we get into the IKF, I'll tell you some stories about some
Yeah.
players which
Yeah.
we had identified, which will help you understand this better. But in a very simple language, scouting is talent identification.
Hmm.
It is heavily dependent on the benchmark through which you're looking at the player. So that's
Right.
what scouting is there.
Right. So I think let's move to IKF. Let's go for the quick introduction of IKF. Uh, what are you doing at IKF and what IKF is doing for the Indian football? Let's dive straight into it.
Done. So IKF, as an organization, we are a not-for-profit body.
Yeah.
We started as or rather still are a Section 8 company, a not-for-profit initiative. Why did we start IKF was, I told you, I had an academy, and then I
Yeah.
met my co-founder and the other founding members along with us.
Right.
So, for the shared passion of football, what we found out is there is the the pair the queries which my parent had
Hmm.
when I told them that, or rather when we told them that we want to become professional players,
Hmm.
those queries still persist in 2019. है ना
Right.
कि कैसे बनाना है player,
Yeah.
what is the next step, you tell me the next step.
Yeah.
And we still didn't had the answers. I couldn't
Hmm.
answer my parents, my founding members, they couldn't answer their parents. So we all ended up in our corporate ka maze. But we thought that अभी भी वही सवाल है, तो then how will the situation change?
Change. Hmm.
Even in after 2009 to 2019, if the queries are same, for के enter कैसे करना है, प्रोफेशनल प्लेयर कैसे बनना है, then the situation for Indian football might never change, no matter whatever we do at grassroots. So then we understood that okay, there is a need for creating a structured career pathway.
Hmm.
Connects grassroots football to professional football. This
Right.
was the idea.
Right.
कि अगर minimal steps में, in an unbiased and a transparent manner, if we connect grassroots football with professional football, then things might change. Then people or the parents, kids might have a clearer view that मेरे को यहाँ से enter करना है और मैं यहाँ पे निकलूंगा as a professional player.
Right.
Like very simple,
Hmm.
सिद्धार्थ, आपको if you want to become an engineer,
Yeah.
you know 10th के बाद आपको science लेना है.
बिल्कुल.
11th 12th में मैथ्स लेना ही लेना है. 12th के बाद आपको जेई देना है. उसके
Right.
बाद you have to study for 4 years in a engineering college. After 4 years, if you pass, you become an engineer. It's a simple process. It's a risk-free process.
Right.
Job milna nahi milna is secondary. That is why there are so many engineers, there are so many doctors. And because they set process, it's a risky process for the parents.
Right.
So a similar thing can be replicated for football as a
Hmm.
profession. But then we found कि ये जो grassroots football है ये तो सब जगह है ही नहीं. You know,
Right.
in 2019 we saw there are only 7 states, there are some state leagues. आपका बीच का जो हिंदी heartland है तो पूरा साफ है. There was nothing
बिल्कुल.
which was happening in Bihar, UP, Jharkhand.
MP. Yeah.
And then we say कि 1.4 billion people, 11 अच्छे players, 1.4 billion तो reach ही नहीं कर रहे हैं आप.
सही
You
बात
know,
है.
so we understood कि ये जो नीचे का भी layer है grassroots football, there is a need for creating a pan India platform. You cannot leave out anybody. You
Right.
cannot say कि मैं सिर्फ गोवा, बंगाल और नॉर्थ ईस्ट और केरला से स्काउट करूंगा, बाकी मैं छोड़ देता हूँ. You are losing. There is a huge probability that we are losing out on
Opportunities.
hundreds of
Yeah.
Chhetris. Statistically, it is
Yeah.
possible. We have already lost and we are already losing if we don't cover pan India. So we thought कि नीचे के layer में we have to create a pan India platform, and that has to get connected with professional football, whatever is available in India.
Right.
And if we are able to do that, then at least we'll be able to create a sustained pipeline of talent for the ecosystem.
Right.
That was our idea. So that's how India Khelo Football came into existence. And ये तो सब सुनने में अच्छा लगता है. This was the thought process ज्ञान देने के लिए. Now what we actually started doing, Siddharth, was कि we started going exactly from 16 January 2021. We started going to multiple cities and villages. और वहां जाके we started conducting our own events, जिसको हम लोग IKF trials बोलते हैं. And from these events we started picking up exceptional players from the pool that we saw.
Right.
After this pan India talent hunt, we have been doing this since last 3 years now. We have entered into our 4th season. We did one more filtration process called as zonal finals. And from zonal finals we qualify only exceptional talent to our national finals. Now, so it's a pyramid structure. In
Right.
national finals, we started inviting all topmost Indian clubs. You see, we have gone to so many cities, we have seen so many players. These are the top 100, 150 players which we have brought at a
Right.
single location. Why don't you come have a look at them, and whoever you like, you take them.
Yeah.
Don't pay us anything.
Yeah.
We don't need anything from you.
Yeah.
That's how we started in our season 1. In season 1, we went to 17 cities. We just had 2,000 players who participated. It was a COVID year as well. It took us 1.5 years to complete. And we had just 4 clubs who came to our national finals to pick up. From second season, but at least our idea got validated that there is a need.
Right.
4 topmost clubs are there. That means there is a need.
There is a
Otherwise,
need.
they waste their time to fly down and send their people over
Right.
there. And even if 2,000 players came, we felt okay. But 2,000 was a big number for us way back then. So we thought that we should now expedite it.
Right.
इसको थोड़ा और बढ़ाते हैं. So in season 2, we went to 40 cities and villages. We got 5,000 players who participated. And the number of clubs who participated crossed, I think more than 10 clubs had participated. We also got an international academy who came. In our 3rd season was a breakthrough year for us, where everything was put into processes, and we went to 58 cities and villages. We had more than 10,000 players who participated, and 24 topmost Indian clubs and academies were part of our national finals, who either came physically or took down the list of players that we had scouted for the further process. So that is how we have grown, and we have just started our season 4. And this season we have decided to go to 100 cities and touch base close to 15 to 20 players. So this would be, to the best of my knowledge, would be the biggest talent hunt in Asia. So yeah, this is what we are doing. So our idea is, if you see कि तो फिर कर क्या रहे हो, तो what IKF is, it's simply एक platform बना दिया है. It's like a shop.com, जहाँ पे एक side पे we are scouting players, और सिर्फ जो अच्छे players हैं उनको यहाँ लेके आ रहे हैं, and on the other end we are bringing in verified opportunities. It's an invitation only thing, and we make them meet. That's about it. So national finals में हमारा कोई काम ही नहीं होता है. We just make the teams, make them play, the clubs see them, and then whoever they like, they give us a list, उनका contact number, हम उनके, we take the permission of the parents, share with them, and we are out of the picture. We are done.
We are done. Yeah.
अभी जैसे शादी.com में शादी हुआ नहीं हुआ,
ये सामने वाले का
so it's completely up to them, and we don't want to get into the nitty-gritties of that, because the clubs might feel that we have an aspiration to become a player management company or agent, which we
Right.
currently do not. And
No.
we don't even take anything from them if they come to our trials. Like, if you see, we charge only 250 rupees to the players. Even if they
Right.
get selected, they don't have to pay us anything.
Right.
For clubs, if we invite you or if we accept your invitation, you don't have to pay us anything.
Right.
Even if you take 10 players, if you take 100 players.
Right.
So our idea is कि पहले ecosystem में players infused तो हों.
Right.
The players that we are scouting like from Ladakh to Andaman, so those
Hmm.
players at least get infused in the ecosystem.
True.
उसमें
True.
से कुछ superstar निकलेंगे तो then the sport will benefit.
Right. I
Yeah,
think that's very quite exceptional and I haven't seen मतलब मैंने ऐसी stories India से rarely देखी like in
great.
different areas but not in sports especially in football तो whatever you just told it's nothing more than an inspiration so moving on to I think let's get into a bit of details
Yeah,
कि आपने जैसे सीजन 1 किया सीजन 2 सीजन 3 सिटीज बढ़ते रहे प्लेयर्स बढ़ते रहे
yeah.
क्लब्स आते रहे इंटरनेशनल अपॉर्चुनिटीज भी आई तो starting from season 1 what were the challenges that you went through
Hmm.
it can be financial it can be anything
Yeah, yeah.
and how did you overcome just so that people understand like how difficult
Hmm.
it is because as you are saying it very normally it's very simple to me it's very simple okay this guy
Right,
did this but on the ground level it takes a lot I think
right, right.
you and your team can better tell that so I just want to understand what were the challenges in season 1 and then subsequently in the next season and how you overcome it how you plan for it so bit on that
So Siddharth, see, I won't go into micro challenges.
yeah
Whenever you conduct event,
yeah
there are micro challenges. Ball आ गया, pump नहीं है. These challenges everybody. अभी हवा कैसे भरे? You're conducting at such a place जहाँ पे मतलब पानी भी नहीं है. How do you get it delivered?
right
रिक्शा.
right
These challenges keep on happening in every business. These
right
are some micro level challenges. At macro level, when we started, it was very difficult to communicate the idea in itself. You
hmm
know, that was a major challenge, and basically convincing the people to believe that such a concept can happen.
hmm
Like,
yeah
there can such an initiative can become sustainable over a period of time, even by not charging the beneficiaries at both the end.
right
So this was a major challenge for us, and to be honest, although many of us we played football, we were
hmm
associated with football, but we are not part of the ecosystem.
hmm
है ना, एक closed ecosystem हर एक business का होता है.
होता है सही
So
बात
we were not part of the ecosystem, so we had to understand the ecosystem. And
hmm
at that point of time, to convince them
hmm
कि यार जो 100 साल में नहीं हुआ ऐसा कुछ हो सकता है इतना easily by simply tweaking certain processes, that was difficult to get advice for.
right
So अभी आप communicate नहीं कर पाओगे तो कोई advice कैसे देगा?
सही
बरोबर.
बात है
Then you have to
सही
convince them कि ऐसा हो सकता है. And so of course there were the doubts. After there are self doubts, and we changed our processes very quickly. Like when we started our season 1, we started it in a tournament format because many
hmm
people said कि सिर्फ trials से तो you won't be attracting sponsorship or anything like that. So tournament has to happen. But then scouting takes a backseat,
hmm
and if you focus on scouting, then uh, entertainment takes a backseat.
right
It's no longer an interesting event.
yeah
So the balancing of that part
very
was difficult.
challenging yeah
It was a long. It took us long time to figure that out. Creating the scouting ecosystem from scratch was our one of the biggest challenge.
biggest challenge okay
So because we couldn't, there was no reference for what we were doing.
yeah yeah
अगर अभी आपको कुछ क्विक कॉमर्स खोलना है, आप ब्लिंकिट और इसके आप 3-4 कंपनी के केस स्टडीज देख लोगे and you will learn from
hmm
their mistakes and go about it. With us, the issue was we had to take parlances from other industries where such kind of,
hmm
like in skill development or other different industries.
right
So the learning curve was high. That
right
was that was a problem. Uh, as I told you, the second thing was because the scouting ecosystem was not well built. Uh, वो ज्ञान लेना भी scouting का, what जब भी मैं बोल रहा हूँ, this is something which I have learned first. Like
right
I was not a scout, neither my founding members were scout.
right
Uh, what talent identification is. So we had to then source the knowledge from abroad.
right
Uh, but then to go to them like novices with folded hands and saying, teach us. and then we'll implement in India. And you
Right.
believe in the project. But luckily, we got good people.
Right.
So they supported us even before the company got incorporated, and they're still with us, those international partners. So that scouting ecosystem took a lot of time. It took us 2.5 years to build that, because many of these things are from European perspective. We had to change it
Right.
to Indian minds, so many things.
Right.
And then we had to create our own certification program. We had to create our own scouts. We had to pay them.
Hmm.
They have to survive, at
Right.
least part-time job milna chahiye. Otherwise, they will just
सही
leave the
बात.
sport like many of us. So these were the 3 4 major challenges initially, and then the challenges came in when you, like in India, it's not only for football. Every district has its own way of doing business, and the rules of doing business changes. The perception of thinking process of people change. So if you're creating a pan India platform, one rule fits all does not work in India.
Absolutely.
आप मैक्रो लेवल पे हो जाएगा, ठीक है,
Right.
वो मैक्रो लेवल पे हो जाएगा, लेकिन नीचे जा जाके देयर आर मेनी थिंग्स व्हिच यू हैव टू चेंज.
Right.
And luckily for me, our other founding members, we had worked in, we were not only Mumbai based, we had
Hmm.
in our professional lives at work, so we had some knowledge. And so that was a major challenge, how to create that network and sustain that network.
Sustain that network. Yeah, absolutely.
Because you, as a company, you cannot do everything on your own. If
True.
you're doing anything pan India, you need partners at regional level.
Absolutely.
वो समझना कि रीजनल पार्टनर चाहिए, that's a curve. फिर किस लिए चाहिए, that's a curve. And then how to manage them
Manage.
and keep their interests alive on a long term basis to connect with the mission.
Right.
That's the most difficult job in India,
Yeah.
particularly, that I've seen with many my international partners. They complain about it. आपको पता है चाइना में ऐसे ही काम होता है, आपको पता है रशिया में ऐसे ही काम होता है, इंडिया में नहीं. इंडिया आपको मतलब महाराष्ट्र में ऐसा काम होता है, पंजाब में वैसा होगा, दिल्ली में. सो वो जो नॉलेज पूल बहुत बड़ा होना चाहिए फॉर एनी
Right.
टू डू दैट पैन इंडिया थिंग. सो या दीज आर दी 4 things यार. I'll just sum it up for you.
Right. I
The
think
first,
that's
yeah.
quite insightful. And I think it's a case study for the next, B school, B schools, or those who are studying sports science or sports management. They should take this as a case study and learn these important lessons. And maybe we can enhance or improve the scouting process because, like you said,
Yes.
यूरोप से हमको इंपोर्ट करना पड़ रहा है ये सब नॉलेज वी डोंट स्टिल हैव लाइक वी हैव अ फुटबॉलिंग हिस्ट्री बट हमारे
Right.
पास अभी भी ये इंफॉर्मेशन ये नॉलेज नहीं है तो आई थिंक
Right.
kudos to you and your team. It's great,
Thank
really great. Apart from challenges,
you. Yeah.
what are some of the insights like last 3 season में ऐसी क्या क्या insights आपको देखने को मिली which were surprising to you or your team या फिर कोई अजीब सी situation which was very like absurd or weird anything
Okay.
which you can recall.
So in our last 2 years, one thing that we have learned is, जैसे सीजन 1 में we went to all major cities,
Hmm.
मुंबई करो, दिल्ली करो, हैदराबाद करो, पुणे करो,
Right.
and we felt के फुटबॉल उतना इंटीरियर में नहीं है.
नहीं है.
That was our idea, and बहुत सारे corporates और brands that we meet, सबका यही idea रहता था. That's how even we started.
Right.
But as we started entering and we started going deeper, we felt that, so the first major surprising part was, ऐसी कोई जगह ही नहीं है जहाँ फुटबॉल नहीं घुसा हो. So football is huge. Like at grassroots level, it's I'm just controlling my words. it's fucking huge.
Hmm.
We had went to places with zero expectations, and I'll give you a few examples. Like
Hmm.
we have been going to Chandrapur. It's an
Hmm.
Naxal affected area in
Yeah.
Maharashtra.
Hmm.
कोई district football नहीं,
Hmm.
competitions, local competition नहीं.
Hmm.
Handful of academies are there. As far as I know, there is only one coach who was not even licensed to work coaching the whole district.
Hmm.
है ना, और वो भी is a part time forest officer.
Right.
So आप सोचो कि क्या है, there is nothing in the ecosystem. वहां
Right.
से कभी कोई प्लेयर नहीं निकला है, मतलब. So
Yeah.
now what happened is, the DSO and the district magistrate, they called us, invited us कि आप यहाँ पे आके भी करो, so that players in this region will also get that platform. And such activities are important in, Naxal affected areas, etc., where the system provides them platforms and opportunities. So with that mindset, we went, chalo, theek hai, hoga. To our utter surprise, so we went, myself and our head scout.
Right.
We both went and we said कि एक दिन में खत्म करके आते हैं. क्या ही होगा, मतलब 50 बच्चे 60 बच्चे होंगे. एंड द डीएसओ हैड गिवन अस द होल स्टेडियम कि
Right.
आप यहाँ पे कर लो. When we went in our season one, I remember clearly there was like more than 250 players in Chandrapur
Wow.
who turned up.
Wow.
Like more than 250, we had to just स्टेडियम का गेट बंद कर देना पड़ा. इतना ज्यादा था. एंड टू आर सरप्राइज के ये खेल कहाँ रहे हैं, मतलब
Right.
हाउ आर दे हाउ आर दे कनेक्टेड विद फुटबॉल,
Yeah.
और हाउ आर दे एस्पायरिंग टू गेट स्काउट. इनको मतलब वो इच्छा भी जागनी चाहिए ना कि आई आई
सही
आई
बात.
वांट टू गेट स्काउटेड, आई वांट टू मूव अप, आई वांट टू प्ले फॉर अ क्लब. So we found out that भाई मतलब it's not just in cities. There
Yeah.
are these smaller areas where at grassroots level football is huge,
Yeah.
and the talent is also huge. So our first discovery was football as a sport is pretty untapped, or is
Hmm.
what we felt at grassroots level. It's just because कि कोई पैन इंडिया प्लेटफॉर्म नहीं है ना, वो सारा
सही
एनर्जी
बात.
को एक जगह लेके नहीं आ पा रहा है to
Right.
tap into it and do something commercially out of it.
Right.
So that is, and it's very, very, very fragmented. But at local level, it is used. That was one thing. The second thing that we found is that talent is also better as you dig deeper.
Hmm. Hmm.
So
Hmm.
as you go deeper, like we have been going to Chandrapur. Like now, what happens is every year we are going. Now that they know that IKF is coming,
Hmm.
they practice whole year to put their best foot forward. क्योंकि
Nice.
ट्रायल्स ही आईकेएफ का हो रहा है वहां पे हर साल, साल में एक बार. दैट इज अ इवेंट फॉर देम.
Right.
सो एवरी ईयर दैट वी आर गोइंग, वी आर सीइंग द इम्प्रूवमेंट इन द क्वालिटी ऑफ प्लेयर्स,
Right.
लाइक ड्रास्टिकली. सीजन वन
That's
में से एक या दो प्लेयर थे, ये थे. लास्ट सीजन 12 प्लेयर हमने स्काउट करे
wow.
वहां से. Few of the players which we knew that guy has been coming to our trial since last 2 years, थर्ड सीजन में तो पागल कर दिया उसने, है ना. एंड सो वी फेल्ट के if if you make a commitment,
Yeah.
you know, in smaller regions, or the you say कि अंडर प्रिविलेज भी नहीं बोलना चाहिए, बट जहाँ पे
मतलब जहाँ
अपॉर्चुनिटी,
इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर उतना अच्छा नहीं है,
जहाँ पे अपॉर्चुनिटीज
अवेयरनेस
नहीं.
नहीं है. या.
यस, इफ यू गो ओवर देयर, यू मेक अ कमिटमेंट, वेरी स्मॉल कमिटमेंट्स,
राइट.
and you fulfill them consistently,
या.
then these players are, they will put everything that they have in their capacity to grab that opportunity.
राइट.
So that is why the more deeper that we are going, the better talent we are finding. And if we
एब्सोल्युटली.
go there consistently every year, और अच्छा talent मिल रहा है without, हम तो train करते नहीं है.
राइट.
We don't give any insight यार कि आपको
ट्रू.
ये coaching करनी है, वो coaching करनी है. So but still the players, they are doing it themselves and they are improving. So these were the two very major learnings that we got, or rather ये दो learning के वजह से ही we left our professional jobs and we came into this full time. There's a huge scope for it,
या
you
या
know. So
एब्सोल्युटली. आई
these
थिंक
are the major things.
I think quite insightful, at the same time inspirational, because this was a challenge. This is a challenge, right? Indian
Yeah,
football, everyone knows it's a big challenge that why aren't footballers there? And covering the scouting part जो आप कर रहे हो, और छोटी जगह चंद्रपुर जैसी जगह पे जाके कर रहे हो, या फिर मे बी लद्दाख जा रहे हो, या कोई भी छोटा सा गांव है, शहर है, वहां पे जाना बहुत जरूरी है. क्योंकि हमें उन जब तक हम उनको इंस्पायर नहीं करेंगे बेटर चीजें
yes,
करने की, कैसे ग्रो होगा. तो
right,
फंडामेंटल क्वेश्चन आपने उसको सॉल्व करने का ट्राई किया, बहुत ही अच्छा है. और नेक्स्ट आई थिंक अब थोड़ा सा हम आईकेएफ के बारे में और जानते हैं कि आप उसमें किस तरह के प्रोग्राम्स रन कर रहे हैं, है ना.
sure,
और जो कोई बच्चा है जैसे देख रहा है वो ये इंटरव्यू, या फिर वो वेबसाइट पे जाए, तो क्या एक्सप्लोर कर सकता है, क्या एक्सपेक्ट कर
right,
सकता है, और आगे क्या बेसिकली उसको फॉलो फॉलो अप कर सकता
sure, Siddharth. I'll just explain it because this is also an important thing. People get confused के
है. राइट.
पूछना कैसे. So we do, as of currently, as on today, there are three major programs that we have been doing since last 3 years. सबसे पहला, what I told you about is IKF trials.
Right.
So under these trials, we go to multiple cities, etc. And this starts in April and it ends in January or February. That's how our season operates.
Right.
So any player who want to be associated with IKF trials, everything is there on the website. Of season 4 में जाके you register. Whichever city you want to come, you come. Pay 250 rupees. एक trial pass generate होता है, like a flight का boarding pass.
Right.
And then all the information you get over WhatsApp. So that is one part, IKF trials. The other part that we also started parallelly doing was workshops by Premier League Academy Scouts in India. So this we do with our partner organization from UK called as Pro Soccer Global, where we bring those guys to here in India, and it's a very closed door kind of an event. Like when I say closed door, उसमें कोई भी city में 100 से ज़्यादा बच्चे लेते नहीं हम लोग, just 25 per age. So what I'll just give you a small background. क्या होता है कि every year hundreds of Indian players have been traveling abroad,
right,
to become professional player, and they spend huge amount,
right,
and many of the times they are misdirected towards certain places, which does not serve their purpose. ऐसा नहीं है football नहीं होता है, but it does not serve their purpose, player's purpose. Like if he is already 19, he definitely needs more time to showcase his skills now.
True.
Rather than in a training setup. वो prioritize होना चाहिए. Of course, training is important. So I'm just giving you one example. So many of these players, they end up spending huge amount of money and they have to come back.
Right.
So but वो main है कि वो उतना resources चले जाता है इंडिया से, and they make the parents spend heavily over there, and it does not result into anything. If that money is utilized in a better fashion,
right,
if they reach right places with right guidance, then eventually they will do come back to India, but they will improve the Indian football by some delta, because they have been exposed to better training facilities, better exposure, so on and so forth. So that is, for that we thought that expertise has to be brought within India. At least once a year we are doing it. And like this season, we are doing it in Mumbai, Delhi, and Bangalore, where these Premier League Academy scouts come. They technically assess the players. We give them a very detailed reports as to how and what they are. We have created a network of international academy partners, and then we make them meet everybody. These are verified partners. Like we have verified their backgrounds, and we know कि सिर्फ Instagram पे बवाल नहीं कर रहे. These are actually doing something. So then we make them meet all of them. They need our counseling. We counsel them that this would be the best for you. This would be the best for you. And if then they want to go on a paid program, they can go.
Right.
But these international academies, if they like any player, they also give 100% scholarship. Like last year, we had 5 players who had got 100% scholarship to go to Portugal, Poland, Spain, UK. So that workshop is something which is specifically for players who need to spend and want to go abroad.
Right.
But we genuinely feel they need right guidance. So even this workshop is not enough to solve that problem. So we are trying to see कैसे करना. But this workshop is where they should come to first. We have even told parents कि भाई आपके player, you don't spend on him now.
Right.
You know, उसको इंडिया में रहने दो, 2 साल करने दो, and then you spend. Don't let him go abroad. You will be wasting your money. We go to that extent as well.
True.
या फिर ये पोजीशन ही गलत नहीं खेलता है. ये विंगर खेलना ही नहीं चाहिए. Has to come back as a center. So those kind of feedback we give, which parents usually don't get from many of the coaches, or many of these references to go abroad is driven by commission.
True.
You know, जिसको कोच को जहाँ से कमीशन मिलता है वो उसको वहां पे डायरेक्ट करेगा. For obvious reason उसको भी कमाना है. कोच के लिए there is very few places through which he can. And the third thing was we did it in April. First year was pathway to US universities, which we so there is a student athlete program. US universities, which is being run very successfully, and the university soccer is very competitive. So we did that showcase in April. That was our first year. We had more than 25 US universities who had tied up with us, and we did a live broadcast of these players to US. And very soon we'll be hearing. We're just awaiting few emails, but we got some exceptional results out of that event. like way beyond our expectations. And so that pathway is the best for Indians, is what we have
Right.
come to believe. So these are the three things which we do. Everything is on our website.
Website.
For
Yeah.
US universities, we are not taking any registrations now. We'll declare it later on and we'll do
Yeah.
it. But trials workshop is happening in September end. So for that, the seats get filled up very fast. So that is where if they want to are thinking of going abroad for or getting themselves assessed by experts, that is the place that you should come. And if they're thinking of being seen by multiple ISL, I League clubs from a single platform, then trials is the place to come.
Right. And maybe a quick follow-up question on that, like the idea for the partnership with US universities. आप क्या देखते हैं कि इंडियन यूनिवर्सिटीज, प्राइवेट कॉलेजेस, यूनिवर्सिटीज में ऐसा कुछ इकोसिस्टम डेवलप करने का प्लान हो सकता है, फिर ऐसा कुछ?
हाँ हाँ, डेफिनेटली हो सकता है ऐसे ही सिद्धार्थ. World over, why does US universities are preferred is specifically for sports persons,
Yeah.
is they take them as a student athlete.
Yeah.
अभी इसमें उसको athlete student भी बोल सकते थे. They call
Yeah.
it as student athlete because the players don't miss on the academics part. So
Right.
from the player perspective, from the parent perspective, the kid is there for 4 years in a university studying
Right.
and pursuing his passion for sport.
Yeah.
If after 4 years he cannot make it to professional football, he still has a degree in his
Degree. Yeah.
so उसका 4 साल बर्बाद नहीं होता, which
Yeah.
happens like so many players.
Yes.
It like it's बहुत खराब हालत होती है उनकी बाद में,
Yeah.
because it बहुत late उनको समझता है कि they are not able to make it and those years are gone. Even in universities like Khelo University होता है ना, it's a government initiative. So if they give some credits for sports and create NIA
Jobs.
जो
Yeah.
NCAA का जो structure बना हुआ है,
Hmm.
those like for US for this MLS clubs, this NAIA के जो leagues चलते हैं यूनिवर्सिटी लेवल पे, that is the biggest platform to take up talent.
Right.
वो scouting platform बन जाता है अपने आप. So
Yeah.
similar thing can happen in India
Yeah.
at university level, because after 18 these players they don't get too many opportunities.
True.
तो यूनिवर्सिटी में भी पढ़े करें. FC Madras has started not FC Madras, IIT Madras had recently announced that they'll take few sports persons on scholarship.
Oh, wow.
So these things has to happen, but वो सिर्फ लेके कुछ नहीं होगा. They have to
Yeah.
play competitive matches.
Right.
If they don't play competitive matches, they are actually just going into a university on their past glory. In their present, they have to get opportunities. For them, they should be showcased, and in order for them to showcase, there has to be a competitive league among universities.
Right.
So वो करना बहुत easy है. खेलो यूनिवर्सिटी गेम होता है, पर तो थोड़ा longer
Yeah.
duration के लिए होगा तो better हो.
Yeah, I
3-4 महीने.
think खेलो यूनिवर्सिटी गेम्स को भी अभी पिछले 3-4 साल में थोड़ा सा फ्लेम मिला है.
Yes, yes.
अदरवाइज पहले थोड़ा उतना कोई जानता
नहीं.
नहीं था, या फिर
Right.
इट्स वर्किंग. बट आई थिंक you at IKF can speed it up, I guess. Maybe that is something you are looking to develop in near future.
Yeah. Currently, we are stuck till 11 to 17 is our focus area.
Yeah.
Anything beyond that is something.
Yes. For
If
later.
anyone want to come ahead and utilize our expertise and create something out of it, we are happy to do that.
Yeah.
So, but हमारे से तो नहीं होगा, at least
Yeah.
for some time. The bandwidth
Yes.
gets choked, Resita.
True.
Going to 100 cities and like
Yeah.
last weekend, we had our trials in Delhi. In with RHA, we had our trials in Faridabad. We had our trials in again with RHA. We had in Bokaro, Siliguri, and we had our trials in Hajipur in Bihar. अभी वो 5 जगह पे सैटरडे संडे में ट्रायल्स चल रहे हैं. So and then as we go ahead in a certain weekend, there will be trials in 7 different parts of the country. So the bandwidth gets choked up a lot.
Right.
So we started moving into a collaboration mode now.
Yes.
आपको भी अगर कुछ करना है, we know what to do, but take responsibility and come and work.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that's a great movement. I think more and more people should know about it. They should collaborate with you, like you said, take responsibility. Because the thing is this, what I feel in Indian sporting ecosystem, people want to do a lot, but they don't want to take the responsibility.
Yes.
And that's why we lack, right?
That is true. That is true. But उसमें क्या है कि now that we have learned, like even these regional partners, some academies who
Yeah.
reach out to us, so वो एक comfort देना पड़ता है कि भाई हम संभाल लेंगे, आप ये 10 चीजें कर लो, बाकी हम संभाल लेंगे.
Hmm.
So even that comfort for many people, see कैसा है कि कोई एंटरप्रेन्योरल माइंडसेट इतना इंडिया में
नहीं है.
इतने टाइम से है नहीं है.
Hmm.
ऑब्वियसली वो बढ़ रहा है. सो द रिस्क टेकिंग कैपेबिलिटी इज लो इन
Right.
इंडिया. बट
Right.
इफ यू गेट समवन ना हु से कि यार मैं खड़ा हूं, तू कर ले, ये
Hmm.
10 चीजें कर ले, so then people are ready to do it.
Yeah.
And like for sport, and specifically for football that we have seen, passion is the biggest driver. Money
True.
is not the biggest driver
True.
as on today. क्योंकि मनी देखा ही नहीं है किसी ने अभी तक. लेकिन
सही.
स्पोर्ट अलाइव रहना चाहिए is
सही.
something which is a crazy driver for many people. We have seen
True.
it because we work with so many regional partners. एक एक उनकी स्टोरीज उल्टे आनी चाहिए. मतलब हम तो सिर्फ एसओपी सेट कर रहे हैं एंड
Hmm.
we took certain risk, but these people, many of them have put their life into it.
Right.
And it's crazy. Like football is blessed, Indian football is blessed with these people who are
Right.
working day and night,
Tirelessly. Yeah.
with passion as a driver.
Yeah.
And slowly we also so these guys have to be supported.
Yeah. I think they have to be rewarded
Yeah,
in a
rewarded as
way. Yeah. Because there is no proper reward systems. So basically they are not getting showcased and rewarded,
yes,
and that's why we are basically lacking. So yeah,
right.
I totally agree with that point. But I think let's see, like with IKF, I have high hopes. Things will definitely change. And
Yes.
maybe coming to the conclusion and
Yeah.
end of this discussion, I would like to understand how excited are you for this season 4,
Mm.
and what are the new things that you are going to implement at season 4, and what are the new insights or programs that you are focusing for season 4, and so on, and how do you see the next 2 3 years, or next what is the vision of IKF for next few years?
So our in our season 1, when we completed season 3, we felt now that it's a time uh, to make it truly pan India.
Yeah.
So then we decided we'll go to 100 cities.
Yeah.
And luckily for us, Tiger Capital came on board as a title
Mm.
sponsor. We got that comfort as well.
Mm.
We got Oyo Rooms as our accommodation partner. We got Cyborg as our online schooling partner. We got Viva Football Magazine. They have been supporting us for long, man. So it's the only print football magazine in India.
Mm.
Ashish Paint se runs it. So we got Player Maker. It's an Israeli company along with
Mm.
Tribe. They came to India and they became our air tracker partner. So this season we were able, or rather we were blessed to have good collaborations with right people in place
Right.
uh, as we started our season. So then that improved our resolve to, or rather made our resolve stronger to go to 100 cities. So now we are capable of going to 100 cities. That was a major change. It's for
Mm.
truly pan India. The second thing is we now actively have started reaching out to teams.
Mm.
Okay, we do get talent, and you need not wait for national finals. Like
Right.
even through your podcast, if these I League, ISL, and I League 1,
Mm.
I League 2, I League 3 division clubs
Mm.
uh, would hear it, they need talent, they come to us. If you need talent, send us our requirement. We'll send you the list of players.
Mm.
Though we don't want them to wait for our national finals to happen.
Mm.
So that we have started doing actively, because since last 3 years, it was like a national final ke pehle we used to call them, because we felt they would need the best of the players only. We have to showcase them only the best of the players. But
Right.
now we have found that we are only becoming the bottleneck of our own processes.
Yeah.
So we said कि आपको जब भी player चाहिए आप भेज दो. You
Mm.
send us the requirement, we'll send you the players. As simple as that. So
Mm.
we want the ecosystem to benefit more out of what
More
we are
out of.
doing.
Yeah.
Because these so many players we are scouting, they have to be consumed.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
consumption we have found out it has to be given at a right time.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it does not make any sense even if the player is of highest quality. But उसको सही time पे present नहीं किया, तो he will go nowhere. So that is the second thing that we now want to actively reach out to clubs and put out the word that you need a center back, 16-year-old, 6 foot, come to us, we might have. और हम
Mm.
दे देंगे यार, हम we don't need any money out of it.
Yeah.
So that was the second thing that we thought. And the third thing is we have started going into more collaborations now
Hmm. Hmm.
uh, to improve our scouting processes and mostly to improve how we showcase a player better.
Hmm.
So just today we announced our collaboration with three separate companies globally. I said that I think I have lost you.
Hello.
Yeah, now you're
Yeah.
back.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
So we are getting into more collaborations mode
Yeah.
so that we are able to strengthen our processes and also act as a gateway for these global companies to enter India who want to do good for Indian football.
Right.
So that's our thought process basically. So these are the three major things that we want to do.
Hmm.
Uh, but on the top of it is, yeah, we want to give as many players as the ecosystem wants.
Right.
So that's on the highest priority.
Perfect. I think that's a great vision, and I think great work that you're doing, you and your team.
Thank you.
So I think congratulations, and I think more and more people should hear about this story and maybe collaborate with you more. More brands should come, most importantly, because if we infuse more capital, then the system grows, player benefits, coaches and scouts benefit. And
And we always tell the brands that we have seen कि कितना football penetrated है in India,
yeah,
and we are giving you an opportunity कि उसको एक platform पे हम लेके आ रहे हैं.
right.
You utilize, exploit that platform to
Yeah,
your benefit, है ना?
absolutely.
And so this is something which has been working for us by God's grace. So there are companies which I told you have come on board, Adani,
Yeah,
Tiger being the first one.
right.
So let us see how it goes.
Yeah, I think it will
And
be great. You
yeah,
have
and now we
very,
have a good, robust team now in place.
yeah,
Our operations head, Nija, my co-founder, Funny, our scouting head, Nimesh, he was among the first Indian to have an
train,
offline scouting course in Europe. IPSO का पहला बैच जो offline था वो वहां से सीख के
right?
आया था. It was with ground class Punjab. So now we are blessed with good team,
Yeah,
good brands, good people,
yeah.
international collaborations. So I think देखते हैं क्या होता है.
Time to accelerate. Huh?
Yeah, yeah.
Time to accelerate. Perfect. I think with that, let's end this interesting discussion. And thank you very much for your time. Really appreciate it. And congratulations to your team and all the best for the upcoming season.